We're live.
All right, thank you. Want to welcome everyone to the City Council meeting this Wednesday, November 18th. Councilman Ray, do you have an agenda?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, let's go through our agenda. We do have two speakers, but let's go through the agenda and make sure we're on the same page. Under communications, item number 1,
Receive and file.
2,
Receive and file.
3,
Receive and file.
4,
Receive and file.
5,
Receive and file.
6,
Receive and file.
7,
Receive and file.
8,
Receive and file.
9,
Receive and file.
10,
Receive and file.
11,
Receive and file.
12,
Receive and file.
13,
Receive and file.
14,
Receive and file.
15.
Receive and file.
All right, does yours say under 15, Planning Commission recommended denial?
Yes, it does.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so that's received and file. 16,
Receive and file.
17,
Receive and file.
18,
INS and planning.
number 19.
Permission,
We do have, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
permission granted.
And 20.
Permission granted.
Okay, at this time, we do have two speakers. Our first speaker, who I see, is Mr. Gemma McWilson. Even though we're virtual, the same rules still apply as in person. You have 3 minutes to address the members of council. Stick to the topic at hand that was requested. No personal attacks and all of that, but you're a speaking veteran, so you know the rules. And so at this time, I'll give you the floor. If you can unmute yourself, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. This really is an opportunity for our local and state task force to say thank you for the resolution. It is being circulated around the state for others to take a look at as to what they can do. The mayor's proclamation, the city council's unanimous resolution, the Masons from across the state, about 10 NAACP presidents from around the states. We're going to have a conference call with them. We have a summit coming up on December the 4th. I've sent some information to the mayor 10 years ago on December the 4th, 2010. Mayor Williams assisted us in that summit. The only difference between this one and that one is we did not have best practice schools from across the state public schools. And most of those have been here to Youngstown. So we want to expose those to the public so people can see what that means, what the 63.4 does in terms of interposition and nullification of the U.S. Supreme Court Act. But the baseline of this is the leadership that you've provided for the city so that we can say that city leaders not getting that directly from the board, but the mayor and the city council has taken that lead. So I was asked to come to let you know that from the task force, local and state, that we appreciate what you've done. And we're using that every day. And everyone that asks for it, we're sending it out. And we really appreciate it. That's the essence of my speaking.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. McWilson. We appreciate all your efforts as well. And at this time, you can leave this meeting and continue to watch the live City of Youngstown YouTube stream. Thank you. Our next speaker I do see here is Reginald Christian. Good evening, Mr. Christian. It's kind of dark. I don't know if you have a light or.
I apologize about my lighting. It's because we're in the house and
that's fine.
it's fairly old.
Yeah. You're good. You're good. So again, I don't know if you were present when I gave Mr. McWilson the rules, but you have 3 minutes to address this body. And again, there's no personal attacks or anything of that nature. Just want to speak about your topic and stay within the 3 minutes, and we'll go from there. So you have the floor.
Excuse me. My personal concerns are just with the city at hand. I was reading some things on Facebook, just saying that you guys were trying to find ways to reduce the violence inside of Youngstown. My concern is, what is that plan and how will it stick effectively? I'm not sure if you're just familiar with the recent deaths of the youth in Youngstown, Theophilus Redmond and James Johnson. Those were 2 youth that were actually killed in Youngstown, in the city of Youngstown. And I just wanted to know, what are you guys doing to effectively fix this problem? And what is the community outreach that the council has for the city to help?
Okay. So a couple of things. One, where's your address? Where do you live, Mr. Christian?
I live 120 Carroll Street.
Carroll Street, South Side?
Yes.
Okay. Julius, is that first ward or is that 6?
First ward.
That's first? Okay. So Mr. Christian, first of all, thank you for your concerns. Obviously, it's a concern of all of ours. Tonight is not the platform for the back and forth. However, your questions and your concerns will not go unnoticed or unanswered. We have the first ward councilman here. We also have the mayor as well as our police chief on this meeting as well. So I would encourage you to reach out directly to your council rep as well as to the mayor and police chief. Maybe see if you could request a meeting to kind of share some ideas and hear from them as to what the city is doing overall to try to curb and combat this this string of crimes that we've seen going on. Councilwoman Basha, I see your hand.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was also going to mention that we discuss a lot of this during the safety committee meeting. Councilwoman Davis chairs that, and Councilman Hughes is vice chair, and I'm a member, and we discuss some of those issues as well. So some of those meetings are available to be watched, and we're continuously having those ongoing conversations on that topic.
Thank you. So, Mr. Christian, do you have any additional comments, or would you need
ahead,
that
Mr.
contact information? Oh, Councilman Oliver? Unmute
Thank you.
yourself. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, if I could just address Mr. Christian quickly, Mr. President.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Christian, we can definitely talk offline. Information, or you can get it off the city website. We are in the midst of setting up our second community meeting. We can sit and talk about that after we're done with these meetings. Some things really can't be planned out, especially when it comes to violence in the community, when these decisions are being made by certain individuals. And we don't want to be always reactive, but we want to try to get into the vein where we're proactive and trying to prevent crime, which is going to take a community problem solved in session. So we're coming up on our second one. I just talked to the chief today. He gave me some updates on some things. We're going to incorporate that into our plan. We're going to present that plan to the mayor and the police chief, and hopefully we can see some action. But we can definitely sit down. Input is important, and I'd definitely like to have a conversation with you.
That's,
All right,
that's fine with me. I can send you my number or contact information at any time.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. You also are free to leave the meeting, and if you want to continue to watch the rest of this meeting, you can go to the City of Youngstown website and watch the live stream on YouTube. But thank you. Please reach out to your council rep and to the administration.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Ray, are you ready to continue?
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, there were no public comments. We had the two speakers. Under ordinances, number 1.
Under ordinances, number 1, suspended consent.
2,
Suspended consent.
3,
Suspended consent.
4,
Suspended consent.
5,
Suspended consent.
6,
Suspended consent.
7,
Suspended consent.
8,
Suspended consent.
9,
Suspended consent.
10,
Suspended consent.
11,
Suspended consent.
12,
Suspended consent.
13,
Suspended consent.
14,
Suspended consent.
15,
Suspended consent.
16,
Suspended consent.
17,
Suspended consent.
18,
Suspended consent.
19,
Move to planning commission.
20,
Move to planning commission.
21,
Move to planning commission.
22.
Move to planning commission.
Under public hearings, ordinance 20-259.
Public hearing.
Ordinance 20260.
A public hearing.
Ordinance 20261.
Public hearing.
Ordinance 20262.
Public hearing.
Ordinance 20263.
Public hearing.
And ordinance 20264.
Public hearing.
All right, let's go back through one more time from the top. Under communications, item number 1,
Receive and file.
2,
Receive and file.
3,
Receive and file.
4,
Receive and file.
5,
Receive and file.
6,
Receive and file.
7,
Receive and file.
8,
Receive and file.
9,
Receive and file.
10,
Receive and file.
11,
Receive and file.
12,
Receive and file.
13,
Receive and file.
14,
Receive and file.
15,
Receive and file.
16,
Receive and file.
17,
Receive and file.
18,
INS and planning.
19,
Permission granted.
20.
Permission granted.
Under ordinances, number 1,
Suspended consent.
2,
Suspended consent.
3,
Suspended consent.
4,
Suspended consent.
5,
Suspended consent.
6,
Suspended consent.
7,
Suspended consent.
8,
Suspended consent.
9,
Suspended consent.
10,
Suspended consent.
11,
Suspended consent.
12,
Suspended consent.
13,
Suspended consent.
14, 15,
Suspended consent.
16,
Suspended consent.
17,
Suspended consent.
18,
Suspended consent.
19,
Move to planning commission.
20,
Move to planning commission.
21,
Move to planning commission.
22.
Move to planning commission.
Public hearings, ordinance 20259.
Public hearing set for Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 10:30 a.m.
Ordinance 20260.
Public hearing set for Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 10:40 a.m.
Ordinance 20261.
Public hearing set for Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 10:50 a.m.
Ordinance 20262.
Public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 at 2:30 PM.
Ordinance 20263.
Public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 at 2:40 PM.
And ordinance 20264.
Public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 at 2:50 PM.
All right, thank you very much. You all ready to go into the meeting?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Well, this meeting on Wednesday, November 18th, 2020 is now called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Adamzat,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Hughes,
Here.
McNally,
Here.
Oliver,
Here.
Ray,
Here.
Turner,
Here.
and Kitchen.
Here. Mr. Ray, is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes for October 21st, 2020 and approve the journal?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes for the meeting that was held on October 21st, 2020 and approve the journal.
Second.
Motion carries. Under communications, item number 1.
Mr. President, I move that communication item number 1 through 20 be received and filed, INS and planning, and permission granted.
Second.
A motion carries. There were no public comments. We had 2 speakers. Under ordinances, item number 1.
Authorizing the Board of Control of the City of Youngstown is hereby authorized to make payment in an amount not to exceed $25,900 for the wastewater treatment plant's NPDES discharge fees from the Ohio EPA.
Councilman Ray?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance items 1 through 24 for council for passage pursuant to the consent agenda.
1 through
20.
18.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules of council and place items 1 through 18 before council for passage pursuant to the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call on the suspension.
Adamzat,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McNally,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
7 yeas for the suspension.
The rules of council have been suspended. Any further remarks? Roll call on the passage.
Adamzat,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McNally,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
and Turner.
Yes.
7 yeas for the passage.
Ordinances 1 through 18 have all been passed. Under ordinances number 19.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 369 East Lucius Avenue.
Councilman Ray?
Mr. President, this will be moved to the Planning Commission.
All right, there's a second on that.
Second.
All right, ordinance number 19 has been moved to the Planning Commission. Under ordinances number 20.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 3726 Erie Street.
Councilman Ray?
Mr. President, I move that item number 20 be moved to the Planning Commission.
Second.
All right, ordinance number 20 has been moved to the Planning Commission. Under ordinances number 21.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 3662 Loveland Road.
Councilman Ray?
Mr. President, I move that item number 22 be moved to the Planning Commission.
21.
21.
Second.
Ordinance number 21 has been moved to the Planning Commission. Under ordinances number 22.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at Powers Way, City Lot Number 36131.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, I move that ordinance number 21 be moved to the Planning Commission.
22.
22.
Second.
Ordinance number 22 has been moved to the Planning Commission. Under public hearings, ordinance 20-259.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 1796 Bears Den Road.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, there's been a public hearing set for Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 10:30 a.m.
all right. Ordinance 20-259 has been set for public hearing Monday, November 30th at 10:30 a.m. Ordinance 20260.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 28 through 32 Indianola Avenue.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, ordinance 20-260. There's been a public hearing set for Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 10:40 a.m.
thank you. Ordinance 20-260 has been set for public hearing November 30th at 10:40 a.m. Ordinance number 20-261.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 360 to 360 and a half East Midlothian Boulevard.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, for ordinance 20-261, there's been a public hearing set for Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 10:50 a.m.
thank you. Public hearing has been set for ordinance 20-261 for November 30th, 2020 at 10:50 a.m. Ordinance 20262.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 2304 Hillman Street.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, for ordinance 20-262, there's been a public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 at 2:30 p.m.
thank you. Ordinance 20-262, public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st at 2:30 p.m. Ordinance 20-263.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at Hillman Street, lot number 14442.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, for ordinance 20-263, there's been a public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 at 2:40 p.m.
thank you. Ordinance 20-263 set for public hearing December 1st, 2:40 p.m. And ordinance 20-264.
Changing the zone classification of the property located at 1555 Westin Avenue.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, for ordinance 20-264, there's been a public hearing set for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 at 2:50 p.m.
thank you. Ordinance 20-264 set for public hearing December 1st at 2:50 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude our agenda for this evening. Is there any remarks from the first ward? Councilman Oliver?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. Just a word to all the citizens of Youngstown. COVID is on the rise. Please stay safe. Wash your hands. Let's follow the governor's orders and try to get these numbers back down so we can get back out here and enjoy life again. Currently in a conference right now, gathering information and more ideas to bring back to Youngstown as usual. So everybody just try to stay neighborly, become a community again. That's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Second ward, Councilman Hughes.
I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. President. And I just want to follow behind my fellow councilperson, Oliver, wishing everybody to stay safe and go by the guidelines. Thank you for that. And I do like to put a shout out to President-elect Joe Biden.
Thank you, Councilman Hughes. I thought that was for me. Third ward, Councilwoman Turner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to say, I know that we are going into the holiday season, and I know that it has been a very tough year, and it's going to get a little harder before it gets easier. But remember that with COVID-19, our goal is to protect each other and to protect ourselves. It takes really brave people to go out every day and to work throughout this pandemic, but it takes more bravery to stay home and to not accept invitations and not bring family and friends together. So I want to thank you all for your bravery and all the hard work that you're doing thus far. We have to work a little harder and it will take a little longer, but we will come through. We will be okay. So just to again say, remember throughout this holiday season, stay positive by staying negative from COVID-19 and continue to protect yourself and others. Have a happy holiday season, everyone.
Thank you. Fourth ward, Councilman Ray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I share my colleagues' sentiments about staying safe in these unusual times. As the virus is carried on, people get bored and get complacent. However, when you're staying away, call an elderly neighbor or call a family member. Most of us are pretty accustomed to using FaceTime and video conferencing, things of that nature, and mask up. We know that people, even with, two people wearing a mask, really limit and reduce the exposure. So do what you can. And thank you for the city workers that are going out every day, our first responders, the folks in City Hall, water department, police, fire, everyone that is still wastewater. They're out there doing their jobs for us to keep the city going. And we do appreciate that. So let's do our part. Stay safe and keep your distance. Thank you.
Thank you. Fifth ward, Councilwoman McNally.
Thank you. I don't have anything else to add at this time.
Thank you. Sixth ward, Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to follow up on Councilman Hughes. This past month, we just witnessed the election of a new president. And I want to thank everyone who came out and voted. If nothing else, this election showed you that your vote did matter. Every vote matters. Our forefathers and foremothers, they sacrificed a lot. They really did. They gave their lives so that we had the right to vote. I thank you for exercising that right to vote, and I'll remind you to always vote, 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 because the struggle continues. Thank you, Mr. President. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. Seventh ward, Councilwoman Adams.
Thank you, Mr. President. My colleagues articulated themselves so well that I have nothing else to add at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this time, is Health Commissioner Aaron Bishop, are you still with us?
Yes, this is Aaron. I am here.
Hey, Aaron. Obviously, in light of the recent news and the governor's update and everything, just wanted to know if there was any update or anything you wanted to inform the public on coming out of the health department.
Yeah, just first of all, I want to thank all the council persons for saying what they did. I every time I hear you guys talk about it, I'm always proud that, because I know you guys are listening, and the residents really depend on all of us to keep them safe. But we're really just concerned. We have had, almost 200 new cases in the last couple of days just in the city of Youngstown. So what we're seeing, people are saying, we're wearing masks and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And absolute, we are keeping each other safe. But where we're seeing the increase is in our, people like at private parties or weddings or, gatherings where you're with, your loved ones or your friends. And so you start to kind of let your guard down and you're not wearing your mask. So that's where we're seeing the increase now. When we just had, unfortunately, a bowling team that a couple of people became positive, and unfortunately, one of the bowlers did pass away recently. So, I mean, those are just places that you think, we're together, we all know each other. And so those are things that we really need to be aware of. And then coming into, like I said, the holidays with Thanksgiving, I'm thinking about that next week. And, Thanksgiving got to be different now for a lot of us. And I think Rick Deek is sharing on our Facebook page where Zoom is allowing you to use Zoom for free and longer than 40 minutes. So people can Zoom their families and loved ones. If you're not going to be together, you can kind of Zoom each other and be there, just not around the table together. So Thanksgiving's going to be a little bit different this year. We want to, I think we were saying our Halloween's going to kind of make what our Thanksgiving is going to be. And unfortunately it wasn't good. So we had unfortunately a lot of parties that went on during the Thanksgiving or during Halloween. And we're seeing an increase in that. We're seeing an increase in our hospitalizations. We've had 4 new deaths in the last week. So I just am very lucky that we have a great team of contact tracers under our epidemiologist, Emily France. But I was trying to explain, with 200 new cases in the last couple of days. So picture that if everybody's in contact with 10 people, that would be, our people have to call, how many people then? 2,000 people, 2,000 contacts. Our contact tracers are contacting, let them know they've been, a close contact. So you just can't imagine all the things that we have to go through with contact tracing, but we're doing it because we want to keep you all safe. So again, thank you all for continuing to wear your masks. And if you do have any concerns about businesses, there is a team out there now through the Bureau of Workers' Comp that'll go ahead and go and to the business. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they could shut them down for 24 hours. So if we get any complaints, we're sending them over to the Ohio Department of Health to follow up on those complaints. So thank you for giving me the floor. I appreciate it. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. You do. Happy Thanksgiving, all of you guys. Councilman Ray, I see your hand.
Yeah, just a quick, not to go on too much longer, but I wanted to ask the health commissioner a question. If you have the contact tracers are making calls, if someone does know they're positive of an exposure, would you also encourage them to let people know? I'm not sure what the lag time is because the calls are there's so many calls.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And sometimes too, the lab won't contact us. Do you know what I mean? They may tell the person, but they don't put it in the system. So absolutely, if someone is positive and they haven't gotten a phone call, they can, call the health department and we'll get them on the list and do the contact tracing for them, because we have to rely so many times on the labs to put it in for people, but they may not do that. So that's a great point, and thank you. And I forgot to mention too, tomorrow we are having testing at Rising Star Baptist Church on Myrtle Avenue on the east side from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So again, it's free of charge. You can also get a flu shot for $25, or if you have insurance, you could get your flu shot tomorrow at Rising Star. But last Thursday, we were at St. Edward's and we tested over 317 people that day. So we definitely see an increase in the people that are being tested. So I forgot to add that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aaron, and keep up the good work to you and your team and all of our first responders, as was mentioned. I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Again, stay safe. Wearing a mask is not a partisan issue. It's a matter of safety.
President Kitchen, may I address council? This is the finance.
Cal? Yes, Cal.
Could I address council and give them an update on where we stand with the budget in regards to income tax, and tell them how I view the year ending within a few minutes, if I can address them? Is that possible?
That's possible. You have the floor.
Members, as you may have seen today, there was a newspaper article which highlighted that nearly the current calendar year is almost finished, and we have an income tax deficit of roughly $2.6 million. With 1 month left, I believe that deficit will grow slightly, and we will end the year with income taxes much lower than what we forecast. However, as a result of the CARES Act money being funneled from the state to the city, along with the 3 rebates that we have been given by the Workers' Comp Commission, including the savings that materialized as a result of employees taking furloughs and the administration's, through department heads' work of curtailing their spending, we will end the year with a positive surplus. It will allow us to prepare to enter into 2021 where there's a lot of uncertainty with regards to how the income tax law may be affected. Also, the reduced income as a result of the reduction in employment. But I am very confident that with the close of 2020, we will be in balance. We will be providing you with a temporary 2021 budget at the next council meeting. And we will need to schedule a special council meeting before the end of the calendar year for a reconciliation budget for the end of 2020, which will set us up with putting those funds aside so that when we start to begin working on the 2021 budget, you will be able to at least appreciate what we have in reserve and how we will try to administer using that and using it wisely. I just wanted to give you that update, and I'm available the next few days before I'm going to be off for a few weeks due to a medical issue. But if you'd have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me and I will answer those questions. I wish all of you a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle, and you're also in our prayers as well. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.